they're thinking, why should they trust you? And around credibility as well. Credibility is crucial as well, where again, people want to reduce the risk in working with someone new. So here's again, so why does the first 5 seconds make or break your pitch? Well, it's because first impressions, as everybody knows, are incredibly important, but it's not just what you're saying. It's actually how you deliver, how you show up, the energy, the expression, all of those different things are going to impact your pitch. And the Wolf of Wall Street stated that in 4 seconds, right, prospects are judging your expertise, your enthusiasm, and your sharpness, right? So there's a lot to consider. However, again, smiling, your handshake, strong posture will help. But it is around your message and it is around your delivery as well and your energy as well on the day. So let's together think about, right? So this is my framework, the impact framework for pitching. Now, today, we're going to just work on the impact part. So the introduction and relevance, the mission and market. So this is your opening segment to your pitch. Again, an example of a hook opening would be, what's that relatable statement that really connects with your prospect's world? How can you make it personal, specific, and in the language that your buyers actually understand? So again, only you and your sales team or your, again, with your experience of sales will know the specific language that your buyers are using with you, right? So an example of this would be, we help busy managers save 10+ hours weekly with AI-powered scheduling that actually understands priorities. So even though there's a lot in that sentence, does everyone see how it is one sentence? There's quite a lot to it, and it's very measurable as well. So 10+hours, that's very specific on the result. So they're immediately telling people and highlighting the positive, which is their result. What do they save, deliver? What do they offer? And so that's why I like this as an example of an elevator pitch, right? Because it's very specific and clear. And then it says why they're different as well, that actually understands priorities. So again, are they saying in that they understand priorities? Their AI understands scheduling priorities in a way that other offerings in the market don't. But are they almost implying it without, again, that's why I think that's quite a nice example. So now we're going to do some, right? So we are now at the part where I'm going to invite you to do something practical, right? Let's engage with your pitch and let's think about how we can help you to start winning every single pitch that you do, because that is my intention, right? So again, what's the opening that's going to hook with relevance or problem clarity or result clarity and compelling proof points? So this is what we're looking for. And here we're thinking, again, are there strategic questions we're going to have ready as well? So for perhaps later in our pitch, who here has been to a pitch, right? And the investor says, or the buyer says, do you have any questions for us? Right? And if we have focused on our pitch throughout the whole session and we haven't shown interest in our buyers and, come prepared with at least 1 to 3 key questions, again, that could be a telling sign to the buyer that, wow, great offering here. But again, did I feel like this business was really, committed to my success and what I need and my challenges? So again, we have to have that balance as well. We've got to have our strong, powerful pitch hook opening, and then come around to some of those great strategic questions, right? And so the foundation here is your first, again, 5 to 10 seconds, the very first section of your pitch. So now what we're going to do is go to the workbook. And we're thinking here on our virtual session as well about vocal delivery, visual reinforcement, which could include slides, props, anything we want to do differently, right? So we could have a video. We can do whatever we want, right? So thinking, is there a visual hook which I could start with? And I've seen this applied really well, where a pitch started and the person just took a whiteboard and started writing out just a number on the whiteboard. And then immediately people were thinking, well, what is that number? What is it? And then they managed to engage the audience and those in the room immediately by saying, what do you think this number is? Right? So it immediately created this curiosity. So that's something you can do. Again, you could have a whiteboard, right? And you could start with a number. And then that could be a compelling stat about your business, for example, right? So now this next section, so I'm just going to teach a couple more slides, and then we're going to pause to actually do some writing and a couple of the exercises in the worksheet today. So the framework that I really want to land with you all today in terms of this. So it's hook, value, proof, and ask. Okay, so hook, value, proof, and ask. Because if we think about it, every single pitch needs to have, in my view, these elements, right? It needs to have the clear value really coming through strongly, like why, how this is beneficial. And then it needs to have a proof point or some form of traction. And then it needs to have a clear ask. Now, how many times have people gone into a pitch? Now, it's not just the end ask as well. I want to share with everyone that this might be the ask leading up to your ultimate ask, right? So we're thinking here in layers and stages in sales. So we're thinking of building to that final ask to, sign a contract with us for £500,000. That's our ultimate ask. But again, what do we see as a clear and realistic next step as a result of our meeting? Is it going to be, for example, a demo with some key team members from that team? Is it going to be, these are just a few examples. Again, you may have specific ones for your industry. Is it to agree to take some sample? Is it to agree to a trial of some kind, a pilot, right? So these are all some examples of the ask, but we always want to have some form of ask definitely predetermined before we go in that room. And ideally, we have two different ones, right? So we have our key ideal ask, and then we have a secondary ask that, let's say we get pushback or any kind of, resistance from the buyer, we're going to say, okay, we'll talk them through that resistance. And if we can't break through that, then we'll say, okay, how about this? Right? And we just position that as, here's a more comfortable next step here. And that means that we don't walk away empty-handed, because essentially we haven't pushed. Again, coming back to the pressure aspect, the pressure is on us. We're the pitcher, and we don't want to put the pressure onto our prospects too soon, because they will crack under the pressure, right? Because at this stage, they're ultimately evaluating us. So again, that's the dynamic we need to be aware of. Again, it's a sensible pitch, a strong pitch, which creates rapport and relationship. So if this is the key framework, so hook, value, proof, ask, and then what we're doing today is thinking how we can refine the structure together. And then I've mentioned as well the AI simulator that I've created. But again, maybe we need just a tiny bit more feedback after this session. So this is the kind of workflow for us. And so I'm just going to encourage everyone, before they get started on the first exercise in the workbook, to take a piece of paper and just write out hook, value, proof, ask, refine structure. So from your perspective, thinking about your pitch as it is today, thinking about what I've shared with you now to get us started, what do you feel are the key areas? What's the one key area for you that you are, again, you're comfortable is a key area for growth? So just choose one. And I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds on that. Okay. So just another 10 seconds or so. Okay, right. So, okay, so that is that first part, right? So now that you've thought about this, right, and what that key area is, I'm going to give you a suggestion for after this meeting today and what you can try, okay? And what I suggest, so following this session, record a 90-second version of your pitch. And if there is not space on the hot seat, okay, because we do have at least a couple of people who will be doing their hot seat live. If there isn't space, then I want you to send it to me and I will give you feedback. But again, I want you to try to apply this as here's what you are going to change or do differently, or what area you're really going to focus on in that 90-second version.